This is the introduction to drawing at CPMA in February of 2019. The first thing I covered in here was doing circles. Here's another example. So as a warm-up exercise, what I want you to do in your sketch folder, if you have it with you, or on just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, I want you to practice drawing circles like this. Most important thing that I want to teach you right now, though, is how to hold your pencil. For our purposes, you're going to hold the pencil like this. The best way to do it, down near the eraser, pick up the pencil like that, and then just turn your hand over and start drawing. You can't see it because you can't see my body, but basically the only thing touching the page is the tip of the pencil. Practice drawing a series of circles, imagining in your head what a perfect circle looks like, and then just draw some circles on the page. This is a warm-up exercise just to get you loose and to get you into thinking about very lightly drawing on the page. It's also a good idea to reverse, after you have the pencil on the paper, reverse the direction that you're drawing in. What this is helpful for is if I have a circle that's really large that goes off the edge of the page, I want to get an idea in my head of what that arc looks like, so that I can then draw it like this. Again, you can't see from this vantage point, but the only thing that is touching the page is the tip of my pencil. My hand isn't sitting on the piece of paper or the tabletop and drawing like this, nor is my elbow on the table. And again, you can't see my elbow unless I go like this, but I want you to take your whole arm off the table and your hand and only allow the tip of the pencil to touch the paper and draw circles. This is just practice. Don't be overly concerned with how it looks. We're just warming up. The reason we're doing this will become very important or very evident in a couple of minutes. One other thing, if you prefer to use a mechanical pencil of some sort, notice how close the tip is to the pencil. In order to practice drawing lightly, extend the pencil lead out and draw in such a way as to avoid snapping off this piece of lead. That's how you'll know you're successful at it. This type of lead does tend to draw a little bit darker. If you find yourself drawing too dark, just back up to the end of the pencil here. The other thing is you notice I'm only holding it with 2 fingers or possibly 3 down here. If you find yourself putting your finger or your thumb on top instead of on the side, just rotate it around until your finger and your thumb are at about the same distance apart, and then continue drawing your circles. You can draw some very tiny circles and some very large circles. If you want to start playing around with composition, that is to say, the relationship of the various shapes on the page, you can bunch them up, put them close together, make sort of a flower looking shape with a bunch of small ones around a larger one. One of the fun things that I like to do when I'm doing this, if you'll notice on this one, is that everywhere the larger ones connect, like here, I've drawn a smaller one here where it overlaps. It almost looks like the Xbox logo. So you can see here, this one crosses over here, and just go where the crossings are. So after you've played around with this for about 5 minutes, we're going to start on the actual drawing for today. But this is just a warm-up exercise. I would like to see this in your sketch folder or on the back of the drawing that we're about to do. I'm actually going to use the back side of this one for the drawing. So again, this is just a warm-up exercise. Do small circles and larger circles. And then reverse direction. Just going over and over again. I'm not super concerned with the fact that I missed several times. I'm just getting the motion down and getting warmed up to begin the final piece. Here's where I start going over some of the areas where they cross over and doing smaller and smaller circles. You can also do this with ovals. Please start out with circles, but also do some ovals. Just kind of a flat circle. And just play around with it. Try it in different directions. This one's more vertical, this one's more horizontal. After you've filled up the page, go ahead and flip it over, and we'll start on the drawing for today. So notice also on all of these drawings, excuse me, that I've used up most of the paper. It's very important when you're first learning how to draw to use up as much of the paper as possible. We're going to cover this entire page top to bottom, not so much left to right, but at least top to bottom, we're going to cover up a lot of the page. So the first thing I want you to do is come down about 2 inches and draw a circle that's a little over 2 inches tall and wide. Then I want you to make one that's about twice that size and slightly overlapped here. Looks like a 2-tiered snowman or snow person. Again, draw it very lightly as possible. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to add 2 circles on either side here. This is probably too big, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it for now. And then you're going to draw 2 ovals up on the top here. Right now, these are just guidelines or construction lines. So we're going to use this to guide us for all the rest of the features on this character. As you can see, this is a rabbit. These are his hands, ears, face, stomach. Very large rabbit. You probably already know who this is if you are into popular culture. I'm not going to reveal it until the end. So now I'm going to do for his feet down here, I'm going to do an oval this way. And then from here, I'm going to go down to where his belly is. And also in here. This one I'm going to do a little bit closer to where his stomach is, because on this foot, it's overlapping slightly and it's partially obscured or hidden by his stomach, because his body's sort of turned this way. So this hand is going to be a little bit smaller, and this foot is going to be a little bit smaller, and it's going to be tucked around underneath his stomach.